and we're here in Liverpool, and as you can see, the sun is now out, and my own personal sun is out because I have the chance to talk to Ms. Paula Rebolledo, our amazing plenary speaker from this morning. Thank you for this plenary. What a spirited discussion that was.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
So tell us a little bit about what gave inspiration to you to actually talk about something which is so near and dear to many of us.
The first time when I was invited, there were many possible topics I could have chosen to talk about. My area of work is teacher development and teacher research, but I chose to talk about teacher empowerment because it's something that I've been passionate about for years. And I had this build-up anger, in a way, of the term being used so loosely and nobody really grabbed on the meaning and really examining it from a more critical perspective. So I felt this really need of really talking about it. So I actually told a couple of friends that this was actually a rant of mine, because I rant about teacher empowerment everywhere I go. So this was a rant shaped as a plenary, in a way.
And a very well-shaped rant, I would say, because I could see the logic and the thread behind it. As I was watching it, I was in the room where it was being live streamed because I didn't actually find a place in the plenary room. I felt that there were many points that we could use to discuss further, but one of these was the idea of teachers not actually wanting to be empowered, being blamed for not doing something to be empowered. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, well, the literature seems to suggest that there is this idea of power being, whether we have the possibility to actually empower teachers directly, or whether there is an external agent needed to be, for teachers to be empowered. And there is this other view that thinks that empowerment needs to be self-initiated, when in fact the two things need to happen. The teachers need to be able to desire to be empowered, because empowerment cannot be enforced. And the second thing is that even though we think we can actually empower teachers, we cannot really do that. What we can is to facilitate or provide the opportunities for empowerment to be facilitated. But mainly what I found is that sometimes it's very common to blame it on the teachers not want to be empowered, when actually there are external conditions that make that empowerment impossible. Although I have to say that there is agreement that if teachers do not want to be empowered, that empowerment will not happen. Because it's closely connected to this notion of agency and leadership, in a way.
So one of the things that touched me was the way that you mentioned that globally teachers are used, abused, but not heard. And I felt that sometimes teachers are asked to do things during their weekend, in their own time, which are considered very managerial, but they're not paid for. So is that part of the fact that teachers are not so empowered, or they do not want to be empowered? Do you see that as a sign?
Yes, but what I see there, because it's funny, because in my survey, when I asked teachers about experiences of empowerment and disempowerment, they do not mention issues of paid low. Some of them did mention that, but it wasn't a big amount of teachers that talked about that. And my interpretation is that it seems to be so common that we are working for free, or that we are paid low, that maybe they don't associate it with issues of disempowerment. So by default, we need to work on the weekends, we need to do extra jobs that we are not being paid for, and it's the same thing what happens with curriculum design. Teachers complain about not taking part of curriculum design, but in a way, some teachers may say, oh, but this is not part of my job, I'm supposed to be there to teach. But in fact, it does affect your job. Being paid low affects your job. Having to work on the weekends affects your job. Not having any say in terms of decisions that will have an impact on your teaching affects your job. So there are elements of disempowerment in those actions.
One of the points in your session that really had my attention, though I don't think I ever stopped paying attention, was the idea of gurus not actually empowering us, but silencing the everyday teacher. Could you elaborate on that?
Oh, yes. Well, I would like to clarify that I don't think I blame gurus as much, but I would say all of us, them, us.
The way they use the gurus.
Exactly.
Or exploit.
Because what happens is that sometimes we can feel that if I listen to a guru, what I am doing is empowering myself, but getting new ideas about my teaching. And I don't know whether that is the case. Sometimes what I feel, it could actually disempower me because I am not using my own expertise. I am not tapping on my knowledge of my own practice, or tapping on the knowledge that I have of teaching, but instead of trying to use the knowledge that I have, I kind of silence that knowledge and I listen to the word of a guru. So it's kind of complacent in a way, because then I don't develop my own theories of my own understandings of teaching and learning, but I consume somebody else's theories of teaching and learning. So if we don't use the expertise from gurus well, or we all engage in this accepting and bow to their words, at the end of the day, what we are doing is we are disempowering teachers, because we are not tapping on their expertise, and then the expert is somebody else.
I really like the fact that you drew very clear boundaries in a topic where boundaries are very hard to find. So this year's trend, because of the closing interactive plenary, is future trends in ELT. How do you see ELT faring in the next few years in relation to your specific topic, but also as a teacher, as an educator yourself? Do you expect changes?
I'm actually positive. Many people think we are going downhill and it's all about money, 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 and everything is becoming a business. Yes, there are elements of that that are true. ELT is an industry and there's no denying in that. But I feel there is more awareness. I feel there is more criticality going on, and we are becoming more aware of things that could affect our profession. The fact that we are already talking about tapping on teachers' knowledge, because there are many, for example, schemes that are promoting teacher research as a valuable strategy for empowering teachers and for professional development, it makes me be positive about the way people are beginning to they see teachers as experts now. I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight. I don't think this is going to happen within a year or two. Maybe it's going to take a number of years.
Changes like that never happen overnight.
But I'm actually positive. Call me naive, but I see more and more schemes that are actually talking to teachers, asking their opinions. The fact that, for example, IATEFL is also inviting more speakers, or paying more attention to speakers from the global south and becoming more inclusive, that for me is a good sign. So for me, I see all positive signs in the future of ELT, or of our profession, in fact.
And I can see a very positive and promising celebrity, not mini celebrity. And
maybe meso celebrity, not yet.
Actually, macro. I feel you have given us a lot of terms to discuss in the future years. And thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for this plenary, and best of luck with tomorrow's Q&A session. What time is that?
I think it's right after the first plenary. I don't know the time very well, but it should be 10, sometime after 10.
10:20.
Okay, so I'm going to be there in case anybody has any questions.
So if you've missed your chance to see Ms. Paula Rebolledo live tomorrow, Q&A session, and stay tuned to our channel for more interviews and more social media.
Bye.
Bye.